my story begins when I graduated from dental school in 2003 in Brazil. Um, so I graduated from dental school there. At that time, my dental school was 4.5 years long, the period of studying. And my wife at that point was my girlfriend for about 6 years. And we always wanted to go study abroad. And our goal was to do postgraduate studies and to become professors in universities. We targeted English-speaking countries because we had English in part of as a part of the curriculum in the schools in Brazil. So it was easy for us to speak English, easier. Although I didn't know much, but my wife knew much better than I did. So we always wanted to do master's, PhD, and become professors. So it just turns out that we passed in the exams to become master's students at the University of Toronto. And she started doing her master's. I started doing mine. She's not a dentist. She's a forest engineer. And I was fortunate enough to land in a lab that was very well known in the area of biomaterials and implant surface topography and bone grafts and bone biomaterials. So I finished my master's and I realized I missed the clinical part. So I wanted to validate my degree. Until then, I didn't care. I just wanted to do a PhD and become a professor. I never thought of going back to practicing in North America. So we were in Canada. And everybody was expecting that I was going to go from master's to a PhD. Then I told my supervisor, was a great mentor in my life. He's a great person, and he was very important in many of my decisions in my life. He was a great mentor. So I told him that I didn't want to do my PhD anymore, and he said that's fine. He was very welcoming. He was very nice. He understood everything. And he invited me to stay in the lab while I was studying to validate my degree and working some research projects that I was involved while as a master's student. So I stayed at the lab and started to research and try to find information. I was inside the faculty of dentistry of the University of Toronto. So I thought I knew everything. I thought by asking the librarians, by asking the dental students, whom I've taught some years before about the process, I would get all the information that I needed. And I was wrong in more ways than I want to admit right now. So I tried to go to the advanced standing program, and I failed a couple times. And that was kind of a sign for me, because I said, I don't want to go back to dental school again, to the last 2 years of dental school. I want to do something. I want to become a specialist. I want to do something beyond dental school. So I learned after 3 years that I could apply for specialty programs. So I started applying for many schools in the US and in Canada. And I ended up being called for all the schools that I applied for in the United States. I had no idea how strong or weak of a candidate I was. I just applied. It just turns out that lab was so strong that everywhere I went, interviewers would ask me, so we've worked with Dr. So-and-so. How is it? And is there a way we can collaborate? The guy was so famous and the lab was so strong. And I didn't know that would surpass the boundaries of Canada or of basic science research. And it did. So I was invited to the program of periodontology in Connecticut, where I had to pay for my master's a small amount of money per year, but I also got a stipend from the school. So in the end, at the end of the year, I wouldn't pay or earn anything. It was like a wash. So I stayed in Connecticut for 3 years. I was able to, my wife and I were able to support ourselves with a loan from a bank in Canada, which took some time for us to get. It was right at the financial crisis of 2008, 2009, 2010, that time. So it was a little tricky, but we were able to do that. As I was able to get a loan in a bank in Canada as a Brazilian student who was going to study in the United States. So there's a lot of immigration boundaries that a normal bank would just raise a lot of red flags and say, hey, no, you're gonna go away with my money. So that just came to teach me that the profession of dentistry is very strong. Banks will lend you money because they know you're going to pay them back. You're going to a profession that's very profitable. So I was accepted to a period program in Connecticut, did the 3 years of the residency. It was a fantastic experience. I learned a lot, and I really improved my surgical skills. And then I wrote the boards, wrote the dental licensing exams for some states, and I ended up in Texas for about 2.5 years, almost 3 years. We worked there. It didn't work well the way we wanted, and my wife always wanted to live in a state where there was, shore. She liked to be close to the ocean, and she wanted to go to Florida. So I did the Florida licensing exam, the last year that was allowed for someone who went through a specialty program. So I had to learn about the things as they were happening. And then I passed that exam. It took me about 6 months to pass that exam. And then we moved to Florida, and that's where we are right now. I was able to work as an associate for about 5 years now, and we're in the process of purchasing the practice now. And I mean, everything now, looking back, everything fits so well together. And we love it here now. It's just fantastic. But I look back and I wish that I knew what I know now. It would save me a lot of money. It would save me a lot of stress. It would save me a lot of time. That's the path that I took. I'm so happy I did. I couldn't envision my life being better than what it is right now.